You look at the clock, thinking it's been 5 minutes, but somehow an hour has passed. Or maybe it's the opposite. You think you have all day, and suddenly it's bedtime and nothing got done. ADHD time blindness is very real, and it feels like time is constantly slipping through your fingers. This episode is for you. Today, we're talking about why ADHD makes it so hard to manage time and how to finally stay on track without burning yourself out. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Nostalgic Neurodivergent, where we talk about ADHD, parenting, and life served with a side of zennial energy. I'm Corey, and today we're diving into one of the biggest ADHD struggles: time blindness. If you constantly underestimate how long things take, if you struggle to shift between tasks, or if you feel like you're always running late, this episode is for you. In this episode, we'll cover why ADHD brains struggle with time perception, the biggest myth about time management, how time blindness impacts daily life, ADHD-friendly hacks to improve time management, and how to create structure without feeling trapped. Here's the truth about time management: we can't actually manage time. Time is going to keep moving no matter what we do. But what we can manage is ourselves and how we use that time. So that shift in thinking changes everything. Time itself is not the problem, but our awareness of it is. Self management matters more instead of forcing a broken system. We need to work with our brains instead of against them. And we need to come to terms with the fact that most traditional time management advice does not work for ADHD brains. And that's okay. It does not mean that there's something wrong with us or that our brains are broken. ADHD brains don't measure time, but we do experience it. And that's why an hour can feel like 5 minutes, or 5 minutes can feel like forever. We struggle with this because there's our now versus not now thinking, where it's either not happening right now, then it barely exists in our brain. We have executive dysfunction to deal with, where we have difficulty with sequencing tasks, and that makes time feel unpredictable. We also deal with the duality of hyperfocus and time warping, where we either lose ourselves in these tasks or avoid them completely. And then there's time myopia. The future feels far too distant until it's suddenly urgent. You remember getting sucked into The Sims for just 30 minutes, only to look up and realize it's dark outside? That, my friends, is ADHD time blindness in action. So, time blindness doesn't just make us late, it impacts everything in our lives, from work to parenting to self care and everything in between. We underestimate how long our tasks are going to take. We think a quick email might take us 2 minutes, and then it just turns into 30. We might run late, even with good intentions, because we fully believe that we have the time until we don't. Then there's the last minute chaos, which admittedly gets us a good hit of dopamine when we do get it done. But we procrastinate, and then we're scrambling because the urgency finally kicks in. And we deal with the task switching difficulties. Getting into something is hard enough, but getting out of it can be even harder. I once got so caught up in what I was doing that I completely lost track of time and was 30 minutes late picking up my daughter from school. The school called, and thankfully, we lived close enough that I got there quickly. But seeing her tear stained face absolutely broke me. That moment changed everything. And since then, I've set up Google Calendar notifications at the start of every school year. I input the entire school calendar, including early dismissals and days off, so I never lose track again. Now, let's talk about ADHD friendly time management hacks. Because we can't force our brains to perceive time differently, but we can work with how they naturally function. So we can implement time anchors using external cues like music, alarms, or lighting changes to mark transitions. We can use body doubling where we're working alongside someone, virtually or in person, to stay on track. We can also use visual timers and countdown apps because seeing time disappear makes it feel real. And this, my friends, is probably why a good old fashioned analog clock is going to work far better for your brain than a digital clock because then you can physically see time move. We also talk about the task chunking, where we break things into smaller, measurable time blocks instead of trying to tackle all of the things at once. Also, I would recommend reverse planning so we start with a deadline and work backwards to set checkpoints. And we use automated reminders, so digital calendar notifications before an event so it doesn't sneak up on you. Think of this like an old school mixtape. You need track markers so you don't just let side A run endlessly without flipping it over. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. And here's your reality check. You're not bad at time. Your brain just processes it differently. And the key isn't forcing the structure, it's creating one that works for you. Time management isn't about discipline, it's about strategy. ADHD friendly strategies are going to make all the difference. Grab my free daily flow blueprint. It is packed with ADHD friendly routines to help you stay on track without burnout. And if you remember anything from this episode, remember this. ADHD time blindness isn't a personal failing. It's just how our brains work. And with the right strategies, we can work with it instead of fighting against it. If this episode hit home, send it to a fellow ADHD friend who needs to hear this. And don't forget to grab your free daily flow blueprint. The link is in the show notes. Just like in Groundhog Day, the key to breaking the cycle is changing the approach, not just trying harder. I'll talk to you again soon.